The snow fell in thick, crystalline sheets over New Chicago, transforming the megalopolis into a canvas of white and silver. Lewis Harper pulled his coat tighter against the biting wind as he walked hand in hand with his daughter, Anna, through the crowded streets of the shopping district. Christmas lights danced overhead, strung between the towering skyscrapers that seemed to pierce the very heavens. It had been 6 months since the integration, 6 months since humanity had officially welcomed 7 alien species into Earth society following first contact. The world had changed in ways both profound and mundane. Alien vendors now sold exotic fruits alongside human merchants. Trilarian children played in parks with human kids. The fabric of civilization had been rewoven with threads from distant stars. But not everyone had found their place in this new world. "Daddy, look!" Anna's voice cut through Lewis's thoughts. The 7-year-old was pointing toward a darkened alley between 2 massive retail complexes. Lewis's eyes followed her gesture, and his heart constricted. Huddled against the frost-covered wall was a figure he recognized all too well, not by name, but by species. A Valerian woman, her translucent blue skin nearly invisible against the snow, save for the bioluminescent patterns that pulsed weakly beneath the surface. Her elegant, elongated limbs were drawn close to her body, and her large, opalescent eyes stared vacantly at the passing crowd. Most people hurried by without a second glance. In 6 months, the novelty of alien presence had worn thin for many, replaced by the same indifference humans showed to their own homeless population. "Daddy, can we take her home?" Anna asked, tugging at Lewis's sleeve. Her brown eyes, so much like her late mother's, shone with compassion that seemed too vast for such a small heart. Lewis knelt beside his daughter, his knees sinking into the slush. "Anna, sweetheart, it's not that simple." "Why not?" Anna's brow furrowed in that stubborn way that Lewis knew meant she wouldn't let this go easily. "It's Christmas Eve. Nobody should be alone on Christmas Eve. That's what Mommy used to say." The mention of Sarah sent a familiar ache through Lewis's chest. His wife had passed 2 years ago, taken by a sudden illness that even the advanced Valerian medical technology, introduced too late, couldn't cure. Sarah had taught Anna to see people, truly see them, regardless of their circumstances. It was a gift Lewis treasured, even when it complicated their lives. He looked back at the Valerian woman. Her clothing was torn and inadequate for Earth's winter, designed for the warm, humid climate of Velar Prime. Frost crystals had begun to form on her skin, and Lewis knew that Valerians, despite their exotic appearance, were susceptible to hypothermia just like humans. "Please, Daddy," Anna whispered, "just for tonight." Lewis made a decision that would change everything. Getting the Valerian woman to her feet proved easier than Lewis had anticipated. She was conscious but weak, her body temperature dangerously low. He draped his coat over her shoulders, inadequate but better than nothing, and supported her weight as they made their way to his vehicle. Anna chattered constantly, trying to fill the silence. "My name is Anna. This is my daddy, Lewis. We're going to take you home and make you warm. Do you like hot chocolate? Daddy makes really good hot chocolate. Well, the machine makes it, but he programs it really well." The Valerian woman said nothing, but Lewis noticed her bioluminescent patterns flickering with slightly more intensity. Among the information dumps humanity had received during integration, he'd learned that Valerians communicated partially through these light patterns, a visual language layered beneath their spoken words. Their apartment was a modest 2-bedroom unit on the 73rd floor of a residential tower. As the door slid open, warmth rushed out to greet them. Lewis guided the Valerian to the couch, while Anna rushed to adjust the environmental controls. "I'm raising the humidity and temperature," Anna announced proudly. She'd been fascinated by alien biology since the integration, devouring every educational program she could access. Valerians need about 70% humidity and 28 degrees Celsius for optimal comfort. Lewis couldn't help but smile. His daughter was 7 going on 70. The Valerian woman settled into the couch, and for the first time she spoke. Her voice was melodious, like wind chimes in a gentle breeze, but weak. "Why? Help." "Because it's Christmas," Anna said simply, as if that explained everything. Perhaps it did. Lewis moved to the kitchen, programming the synthesizer for a nutrient-rich broth suitable for Valerian metabolism. When he returned, he found Anna sitting cross-legged on the floor in front of the couch, maintaining a respectful distance but clearly eager to engage. "What's your name?" Anna asked. The Valerian's eyes, large and prismatic, focused on the little girl. The patterns beneath her skin pulsed in what Lewis had learned to recognize as contemplation. "Jaira. I am called Jaira." "That's pretty," Anna said. "Why were you outside in the cold, Jaira?" Lewis wanted to intervene, to protect the alien woman's privacy, but something in Jaira's expression stopped him. She seemed to want to talk, to be heard. "I came to Earth 6 months ago," Jaira began, accepting the warm broth from Lewis with trembling hands. "On Velar Prime, I was a quantum resonance engineer. I worked on the consciousness transfer technology that allowed our people to communicate across vast distances." Her bioluminescent patterns dimmed. "But here, my credentials mean nothing. Human universities do not recognize Valerian education. Companies fear hearing us, worried about cultural incompatibility. I applied for 847 positions, all denied." Lewis felt a familiar anger rising in his chest. The same anger he'd felt watching the news, seeing reports of alien discrimination, of refugees from the integration struggling to find their place. He'd told himself it wasn't his problem, that he had enough to worry about raising Anna alone. But now, with Jaira sitting in his living room, it became personal. "I spent my savings on rent until nothing remained," Jaira continued. "The shelters are full, the aid programs are overwhelmed, and Valerians, we are not built for your cold, but I had nowhere else to go." Anna reached out and gently touched Jaira's hand. The Valerian flinched initially, then relaxed. Her skin felt cool but was warming rapidly in the apartment's adjusted climate. "You can stay here tonight," Lewis said, the words emerging before his brain could fully process them. "It's Christmas Eve. We have a guest room." Jaira's eyes widened, and her bioluminescent patterns erupted in a cascade of golden light. Lewis didn't need a translation to understand. Gratitude, overwhelming and pure. That night after Anna had gone to bed, Lewis found himself unable to sleep. He stood by the window, watching the snow fall over the city, his mind racing. In the guest room, a homeless alien woman, no, Jaira, a person with a name and a story, slept peacefully, perhaps for the first time in weeks. What had he done? This was supposed to be one night, a Christmas kindness, but even as he thought it, he knew it was a lie. Anna had seen someone in need and responded with the uncomplicated compassion of childhood, and in doing so, she'd held up a mirror to Lewis's own inaction. For 2 years, he'd been sleepwalking through life, going through the motions of work and parenting, but never truly engaging with the transformed world around him. He'd let his grief build walls, keeping out not just pain but also possibility. A soft sound made him turn. Jaira stood in the doorway of the guest room, wrapped in the thermal blanket Anna had insisted she take. "I did not mean to disturb you," she said quietly. "You can't sleep." Jaira moved to stand beside him at the window. "On Velar Prime we have no snow. I find it mesmerizing, like watching time crystallize and fall." They stood in companionable silence for a moment, two beings from different worlds, united by circumstance and kindness. "Your daughter has a beautiful heart," Jaira said. "She sees no difference between us." "Her mother was like that too," Lewis replied. "She taught Anna to see people, not categories. I'm afraid I lost sight of that lesson." Jaira's patterns pulsed with soft blue light, sympathy Lewis had learned. Grief is a heavy burden, it distorts our vision. "What will you do?" Lewis asked. "After tomorrow, I mean." Jaira was quiet for a long moment. I do not know. Return to the streets, I suppose. Hope that the cold does not claim me before the spring comes. The words hung in the air like an indictment. Louis thought of Anna, warm and safe in her bed. He thought of Sarah, who would never have turned away someone in need. He thought of the person he wanted to be versus the person he'd become. What if you didn't have to? He heard himself say. Jaira turned to look at him, confusion and hope warring in her expression. The guest room is just sitting there, Louis continued, the plan forming as he spoke. Anna's school has a winter break for the next 2 weeks. You could stay, rest, recover. I work in tech integration. Maybe I could help you get your credentials recognized, connect you with the right people. I cannot accept such charity, Jaira protested, but her bioluminescent patterns blazed with desperate hope. It's not charity, Louis said firmly. Anna asked if we could take you home. Maybe we already did. Christmas morning arrived with fresh snow and a sense of possibility. Anna woke to find Jaira sitting at the kitchen table, her bioluminescent patterns creating a light show on the walls as she animated a story about Valerian holidays for the enraptured child. Louis watched from the doorway, a cup of coffee warming his hands, and felt something he hadn't experienced in 2 years: hope. Not the desperate, clinging hope of someone trying to resurrect the past, but the gentle, growing hope of new beginnings. Over breakfast, synthesized pancakes for the humans, a Valerian fruit compote for Jaira, they talked about practicalities. Louis had already sent messages to contacts in the alien integration department at his company. Jaira shared more about her expertise, her eyes lighting up as she described quantum resonance fields and consciousness bridges that could revolutionize human communication technology. Anna listened, understanding perhaps 10% of the technical jargon, but absorbing everything with the sponge-like mind of childhood. She asked questions that were sometimes naive but always sincere, and Jaira answered each one with patience and growing warmth. "Can you teach me about Valerian lights?" Anna asked, pointing to the patterns dancing beneath Jaira's skin. "What do the colors mean?" Jaira's patterns shifted through a rainbow of hues. Blue for contemplation, gold for joy, red for passion or anger, green for peace. But it is more complex than that. The patterns, the speed, the intensity, all carry meaning. It is like your facial expressions and tone of voice combined into a visual symphony. "That's so cool," Anna breathed. "What color is thankfulness?" Jaira's skin erupted in a brilliant display of gold and violet, patterns swirling and cascading like northern lights. "This is gratitude, deep, profound gratitude." Anna beamed. "You're welcome." Later, as Louis cleaned up the breakfast dishes, Jaira approached him. Her demeanor was different now, standing taller, her patterns more vibrant, the defeated slump gone from her shoulders. "Louis, I must ask, why? You do not know me. I could be anyone." Louis paused, considering his answer carefully. 6 months ago, the universe got bigger. It got more complicated, more diverse, more challenging. And in that chaos, it's easy to retreat, to stick with what's familiar, to protect yourself and your own. He looked toward the living room, where Anna was decorating a small tree they'd replicated the night before. But Anna reminded me of something important. The universe didn't just get bigger, it got richer. Full of new perspectives, new possibilities, new people worth knowing. He turned to face Jaira directly. "You're not anyone. You're Jaira, a quantum resonance engineer who crossed the stars and hit hard times in a strange world. You're someone who needed help, and maybe we needed to help you. Anna and I have been stuck in our grief, going through the motions. You've given us something to care about beyond ourselves." Jaira's patterns flickered with emotion too complex for Louis to fully interpret. On Velar Prime, we have a saying, "The star that shines for another burns twice as bright." You and Anna, you are such stars. The 2 weeks passed quickly, each day bringing new developments. Louis's contacts at the tech company were intrigued by Jaira's expertise, and after a series of remote interviews, She was offered a consulting position with a pathway to full employment once her credentials were properly documented. Anna appointed herself as Jaira's guide to human culture, dragging the Valerian woman through a whirlwind tour of human holidays, foods, entertainment, and customs. Jaira, in turn, shared stories of Velar Prime, of cities that floated on quantum tides, of art created through synchronized bioluminescence, of a philosophy that emphasized harmony between individual brilliance and collective growth. The apartment, once quiet and hollow with absence, filled with light and laughter. Louis found himself smiling more, engaging more, living more. Anna blossomed under the attention, her natural curiosity finding an eager teacher in Jaira. But beyond the personal transformations, something else was happening. Word of Louis's small act of kindness spread through his social networks. Colleagues began asking questions, not hostile ones but curious. What was it like living with a Valerian? What had he learned? How could they help with integration efforts? One colleague, a woman named Patricia who worked in HR, reached out with an idea. A pilot program to help credentialed aliens find employment, using Jaira's case as a model. Another, a man named James from engineering, wanted to explore Jaira's quantum resonance technology for potential Earth applications. Small actions rippling outward. On the last day of Anna's winter break, as evening settled over New Chicago, the three of them sat together in the living room. Jaira's official employment would begin the following week. She'd found a small apartment not far from Louis and Anna's building, affordable now with a steady income. "I will miss living here," Jaira said, her patterns glowing with bittersweet blue gold. "You have given me more than shelter. You have given me hope, friendship, family." Anna hugged Jaira tightly. "You'll visit all the time, right? And we'll come see your new place, and you'll still teach me Valerian light language." "All of that and more," Jaira promised, returning the embrace. Louis felt his throat tighten with emotion. "You're always welcome here, Jaira, always. You're not just our guest anymore. You're our friend." "More than friend," Jaira said softly. "In Valerian culture there is a concept, therakal. It means the family you choose, bound not by blood but by shared moments of profound connection. You are my therakal." Anna looked up at her father. "Can we be that, Daddy, her Therakal, Louis repeated, the alien syllables feeling right on his tongue. "Yes, Anna, I think we already are." That night, after Jaira had retired to the guest room for the last time, Anna climbed into her father's lap as they sat on the couch together. "Daddy, I'm glad we took her home," Anna said quietly. "Me too, sweetheart, me too. Do you think Mommy would be proud of us?" Louis felt tears prick his eyes. "I know she would be. She'd be so proud of you, Anna. You saw someone who needed help and you didn't look away. That's the best gift you could give anyone, the gift of being seen, of being valued." Anna nodded against his chest. "Next Christmas, can we help someone else?" Louis smiled into his daughter's hair. "Next Christmas and every day we can. That's what being part of the universe means. We're all connected, all responsible for each other." As Anna drifted off to sleep, Louis looked out at the city lights glittering in the darkness. Somewhere out there, other Jairas were huddled against the cold, human and alien alike, struggling to find their place in a changing world. He couldn't save them all, but he could do something. He could see them, help them, stand with them. One person at a time, one act of kindness at a time, ripples expanding across the water until the whole pond shimmered with light. The universe had gotten bigger 6 months ago. But tonight, in this small apartment with 2 sleeping souls he cared for deeply, Louis realized it had also gotten warmer, brighter, and infinitely more full of love. Merry Christmas indeed. End.